Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the last video in the how-to series on Rolemaster Classic using Fantasy Grounds Classic with Dakadin's updated rule set version 2. This one's about tips, tricks and miscellaneous stuff that I missed or got comments about afterwards. It's probably going to be a bit higgledy-piggledy all over the place. I'll try and fix that in the edit, but there'll probably be some jump cuts. Let's crack on. Right, so Rolemaster tables. Use these tables if something unplanned happens. You can drag them straight into the table resolver. Got all your attacks, your criticals, your other sort of miscellaneous tables, movement and maneuver, resistance roll tables. We'll show you later on how to add in a critical into an attack table to help you with simulate a spell or a trap. Other tables are the ones in Fantasy Grounds. You recognise most of these from the actual rule set, so a recovery chart for healing, for organ damage for example. Open that up, make a roll. A roll of 22 is 6 days for this organ damage to recover. You can see it right there. You can create your own tables. So I've done one here for the Summons 1 spell. When they cast that, whatever kind of critter comes up, I chose a selection of level 1 critters. This one got a small antelope-like animal. There are videos on how to create these tables, because it's not really Rolemaster specific. Other thing is stories that I'm not going to cover because again they're very generic. You can see videos on how to do that, but just quickly right hand click, add new, go into here, give it a title, give it some text, and then you can just choose your paragraph types. So you've got tables, links, lists, headings, body text and chats, or you can just select the particular line, use the control key, control 1 normal text, control 2 headings, control 3 speech, control 4 bullets, links for 5, control 6 for your tables. One thing I recommend is make sure you have a table of contents and also number all your story items, which I haven't done in my example, but just makes it very easy. Let's get rid of that. You can combine the stories and the tables into story templates, which are quite powerful, how to create random encounters, random things happening. I'm working with those at the moment as I'm creating a little solo adventure for newbie GMs just to get used to using Fantasy Grounds and Rolemaster together. I'll bring a little video out on that when I'm ready, so if you're subscribed you'll get a notification on that. Right, that's those gone. Next thing's to help you with your maths. So if we go into Bob's, go to Inventory, some coins here. Look, if I go to modifiers, type in there 40, I can just drag that. Now you'll note that there's a little plus in the bottom right hand corner, which means it can do maths in these particular fields. So add that onto it, you should get 72. You could also go into the modifiers box, take away things, negative 40, drag that, drop it onto the little field, and it does the maths for you. While we're thinking about that, let's go to the party sheet up here. Now you can drag siders one at a time, just drag this, and drop it in, and it drops them one at a time. So you've got 19 to bring across. That's going to take you a while. It brings them in individually too. You could of course just type in here if you wanted to 20. Right hand click, delete that entry, and then delete these. So another way of doing this, let's just delete that again. Bring that back up to 20. If when you pull this across, just hold the shift key as you pull it across. That takes all of them, and all 20 siders are there. And a player can do exactly the same. Shift key, drag it, drop it. One thing one of the comments asked us was just to reiterate about the NPCs and how you can create and tailor them yourself. So let's go and create our own Abraxas. Right hand click, drag, drop, go into uncategorized, go to the Abraxas, bring it in here. Just go to other, open-ended roll for level, open-ended roll for constitution, drag them both in, level, no difference, constitution, there you go, 6 extra hits. Go to main. Change your levels if you needed to. Oh, better unlock it first. 1, 2, 6. Somebody else mentioned about, could you make these attacks a little bit more clearer? Well, these are all in your reference manual. So I go down here to the library, go to creatures and treasures, go to the reference manual, go here to creatures and treasures, and then to section 2 creatures. Then go to combat statistics. Down here, all the way down, it says additional information. This tells you a few things. Let's get this back up again so you can see what we're talking about. If you see next round, that's the equivalent of that one there, the V. So if any of these attacks you choose that round do a non-tiny critical, that's what follows the next round. You can get another one called same round, which is equivalent of this one. Again, if any of these do a non-tiny critical, you can then attack with that particular one that's indicated with the same round. And then other bits that are in here tells you exactly what those do. So this one here says that this grapple can be used 2 times in that round. You might see 2D in there, so that means it's double damage. Or it might just be a number in the brackets, which is how many animals are required to get that attack. It's all there for you. Just have a look at that. Close that down. Oh yeah, one thing I was doing copy and paste in between fields. So let's just create a dummy attack here. I can just drag that field, drop it in there, and I've now got it copied. So I didn't have to copy and paste. Right, let's close that down. Little tip here, if you want to share things quickly with your players, you just go into it, drag the icon, and just drop it on a portrait. Boom, and then the players will get it. If you want to whisper to an individual player, create a story item with the speech bubble and drag the speech bubble just to that player, and only that player will get it. Very useful, I found, if you want to roll a number of perceptions. Remember, you can do that by the party sheet. Go to main, and you can roll all the perceptions here. And then anybody you know who's completed that ahead of time, so we know here that Bob smashed it, is that you could later on make a little idea that, oh, well, Bob's passed that. And then later on when you're running the game, you can just grab that speech bubble straight to Bob, drop it in, and then Bob gets that particular part, rather than you have to copy, paste, right hand click, whisper, paste it in, and off you go. Much easier just to drag the speech bubble, drop it on him, Bob gets it. And that could go to multiple people, so you have 6 portraits, you could drag it quickly to 3 of them. Pretty good. Another little tip was when I was talking about encounters. Let's get an encounter up. Let's go to the llamas one. So if I click on and by the way, it's going to get this from the party sheet. So there's 2 level 5 people in the party at the moment. If I click on this here, it'll automatically work out the average party level and the XP. Pretty neat. Other bits, let's close these all down, is you can go to your character sheet, double click on not the portrait, which is this one, the token, which is that one, and that will take you to any active map that he's on, or your player's on. There you go, it's gone to that one. I mentioned this one before while in a map here. Sometimes on different people's goes, it keeps moving the map, which can be a real pain. So go to the options, go to this one here, auto center map, and you can turn it on or off. Now if I lock movement here a second, so lock tokens, and Bob here wants to move. Now use the GM, you can right hand click and accept the move. But another way to do it is actually go over the token itself and just push the middle mouse button down. That accepts the move, rather than the right hand click, so you can do it in 1 click. Now I don't think I was too clear last time about you adjusting and resizing images. So you know it's quite simple about the small size one, that's okay, but adjusting horizontal and vertically. So when you adjust vertically, only this axis is going to change. So let's show that. Let's make it smaller down like this, right hand click, resize image, adjust vertically. This should push it down. If I put it like this, and like this, oops, that's right. And then right hand click, resize image, and adjust vertically, this horizontal won't change, it will just pull the vertical up. So we've got it all in here now. And conversely, if we pull this down here, right hand click, resize, adjust horizontally, this is going to push this out this way. The whole thing a little bit smaller, right hand click, resize. So when I choose horizontal, it's going to push it out this way, but this shouldn't be moved at all. Let's make it a little bit bigger to work with. Using my mouse button just to zoom in. Mouse wheel, I should say. Now let's delete this Abraxas a second. So right hand click, delete the CT entry, should move the token as well. You may have noticed these little red pins. You can do these yourself. So if I click on this one, for example, this is the temple. This opens up the encounters for the temple. So I click on that, it'll run the temple, add all the tokens, it'll put them all to the combat tracker. And how's that done? Quite easily, really. We just go to your encounters. You can just drag the Iron Crown symbol, and that means now that's on there. If you click on it, you could then run the NPCs one. Your player will not see that unless you right hand click and say make it shareable, or you can make all of them shareable. Delete that. That's encounter, but you can also, if you wanted to, you could do it for an actual description from the story entry, and that's just from stories. Just drag that onto there. And remember, you could then, once they're in there, you could just say, oh, Bob's seen something actually. So just drop that onto Bob. He's seen the glitter of gold. The gleam of gold, I should say. And you could also do it for parcels. So once somebody discovers something in here, you can just open that up, go to your party sheet, go to the inventory for that, and just drag what they found into the parcel items. Now they can do with that as they please. So on the combat tracker, let's show everything. Let's say all these were grouped together, these two. And go back here. You can select multiple targets. I've shown you how to do this before. Just click here, and then with the control key down, just go click, 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 multiple targets, done. Untarget them, click, 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 click all over them again. Now, with Viva also connected, you can do it a different way as well. You can go to here where you can say targeting mode, and you see you can now drag, I'm holding the left-hand mouse button, and drag it around the targets you want. Let go, rather than having to go click, 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 it does them all at once. And then clear them if you want to with this. Now, beast mode for Bob. Let's say he wants to shapeshift now. You can't really do that in the Rolemaster set, I'm afraid. So I just clear up the combat tracker and add a bear, and then get him to roll, and then you just adjust it every time you want him to do it, and then add him back on once he's shapeshifted back. So, right-hand click on him is token, delete his token, go to the combat tracker, make sure he's deleted from there as well. Now I need to add the bear. So I've set up as an account already when he has bear form. Don't need to place it now. I'm going to add it to the combat tracker. Identify the creature. I'm just going to drag it to where Bob was, and that's now going to be Bob. So if we roll everybody's initiative, set to reset to round 1, go to the next actor. See, they've all had their goes. When it's the bear's turn, you can say, okay, Bob, it's now your turn. Oh, I want to attack something. So he wants to attack this person here. So we'll move it for him. So, okay, you move there. Make your attack. So me as the GM will select it. He wants to grapple it. So I'll make a roll for the bear. He's got a 76. But what Bob would do is he'd make his roll. Now he rolled a 92. So I'm going to resolve this. But instead of a 76, I'm going to put in there 92. That was his roll. Then we can see that it's made a D grapple, as best it can do, a large one. So right hand click. Well, drag the 10 hits first of all onto what he attacked. And then do his D grapple. So right hand click, D, get him to roll. So 48, drag it on to the D, and drag that onto the creature. Anything else you want to do, Bob? No. Move on to the next actor. That's how you do it. Then once he shapeshifts out of the bear form, right hand click, delete it from the entry, delete it from the combat tracker, which has done it, and then just go back to characters, drag Bob back in. And then back onto the combat tracker. There you go. Let's close this down. Actually, before we do that, remember, if you lose connection to the combat tracker, one thing is just to close the combat tracker, open the combat tracker, and that'll sometimes re-establish it. You know you've lost contact with the combat tracker as a player because you'll no longer have these available to play with. I'll close these down. Let's look at a character sheet. A few things about that. Drag that into position. Go to skills and skill dev. We have touched on this before. You can order by alphabetically A to Z or Z to A. Or you can right hand click and you can group them. That makes it easier when you're doing your skill development. I'm just ungroup them if you don't like that. Other things I forgot to show when I was doing one of the character sheet was the inventory. Didn't show that you could filter your particular items in inventory because you've got a very large one. So do we have any clothing in this one? Nope. Do we have any armor? Yes. So there's the filter there, so I should have shown you that there. Apologies. Other thing I didn't make clear is that when you see these in the top right hand corner, the little pluses, that means you can just double click on those boxes to immediately add them down here to the modifier. So for example, a strength roll, double click, and then if you had something to do like an open-ended, it's sure that's added. Though with a strength check you probably just do it with the grayed out dice here. Right, let's go back into the maps again. So I thought I was a bit all over the place. Let's go to the forest ford. Imagine there was a trap here. So I go to an NPC, just right hand click, add a new one, and just call this spear trap. Non-identified name is suspicious leaves. Now let's make the actual trap attack. So I'm going to go to Twisty here, add one, and this is going to be a spear attack. It's going to hit with an OB of 40. Click on this to go in and change it. Find the attack table for spears. That should be enough for that one. While we're here, create another one for a crush. This could be like a rolling boulder or something. Attack table for that is a full crush. Maximum for that is a large. Maybe that's got a 60 OB. And there we go, we set that up now. Oh, better put the token for it. So let's close that spear trap for now. Add it now to the combat tracker. So combat tracker, move this over a little bit. Spear trap on there. Drag the token across, drop it for him to fall into. Don't need to show it. So Bob comes along, hits the spear trap. You say, oh, sorry, you've just sprung a spear trap. Roll an attack on you. So drag, drop it onto Bob. 57, so right hand click, resolve. Took 2 hits. His armor type 20 is doing well for him. Maybe it had been a rolling boulder, so in which case we've done a crush attack on him. Right hand click, resolve. Takes a 4A crush. Reason again why I might do this is there might be multiple people you might want to target with a spear trap. Much easier to do that. And let's do something about a dummy spell attack as well. So Virula. So I'm going to get rid of this and I'm going to go and get Virula. Go to where she is. And let's get some people, this one, the encounters. Add those people onto it again. For completeness, let's put Bob on here. Now with Virula, I want to make a spell attack. So you go to the combat tab, right hand click, add a new one. Now this one is going to be a, I'll say a stun cloud. I can't remember, I think stun cloud does A electricity, so this one does anyway, stun cloud A. Then I'll go down to here, make sure there's no OB in this, no associated skill, because they're going to roll a base attack for this to actually work. But the attack table, now the attack table you can see here, they're all attack tables, not critical tables, but you can fudge it. If I go down to the RM tables, so go up to the RM tables, and go to the criticals, spell law, and go and get electricity, I can drag that and drop it into the table name. And now suddenly I've got an electricity critical that's going to be done. So close that, lock that up, stun cloud A. We go to the combat tracker, don't know if it'll picked it up yet, we'll soon see. We'll have to re-add her. Not there yet, so I'm going to delete Virula and then add Virula, and hopefully she'll be picked up now. Stun Cloud A. So let's make a bit of room here. Let's show all these NPCs so she can target them and move them into position. So here's our victims. I better delete her token because I've removed and re-added her to the combat tracker, so we get the new updated version of that token. So all we have to do now is left click Virula, control click these lot, go off to a stun cloud attack, double click, look, it does all of them. Here they all are here, so the 83, right hand click, resolve. This one, back blast, and that was on Llama Warrior 8, so you just go along, drop onto Warrior 8. Next one, 35, resolve. That one's on to Llama Warrior 5. Next one, the 100. Oh dear. Head strike on to Llama Warrior 4. Dying. And the last one here is on to Llama Warrior 12, the 57. Very quick. Do that for stun clouds, vacuum clouds. Now we showed you before how we did effects for things like lightning, sudden light spells, area effects for those. And let's maybe talk a bit more about effects. Let's close that. Bring this up here. Right, so most of these have come from Core RPG and are not connected in any way. What are cover softs, cover hards. Those ones are connected, so they will give modifiers. But the rest really are just more to tell you as a GM or as a player what are effects on you. There are some built-in ones that do work, and I've created those as custom ones and put them here. You'll have seen in previous videos how you can do a stun, so you can adjust the duration and just drag stuns onto certain combatants. So I could drag this stun of 6 rounds onto Rolemaster Hybrid, for example. And now their effective stun, anything attacking that will get the stun modifier onto that. If it tries to do anything, it will get a stun penalty. There's also a dying, so you can say how long somebody's got left before they're dying. You can see it actually in action there with a duration of 6. Bleeding. So bleeding, you can just change this number here to how many you want per round, and just don't put any kind of duration in there. Keep it at 0 so that it applies those bleeds until it's finally stopped. So I can change that now to bleeding 4, drag it onto Bob, and now Bob has a bleeding 4. So every round, got 0 damage here. Let's just go to the next round straight away. He's got 4 damage here. You can put an effect on people to say that they must parry. That won't do any effects as such. That's more for information, but no parry would. That is actually a stun no parry, so you can drop that in without the stun, and it'll know that automatically. So if I make an attack here from Rolemaster and do a bash onto Bob, you should see there should be a stun in here. Defender stunned. You see that there. You can do parry penalties. So they must parry, fair enough, but then you can do a parry penalty of -30. Again, that's just flavour to show them there's a parry penalty. Just change that number to what penalty you want to put on it. So maybe he's got to do a parry penalty -30. Then there's actually a penalty you can put on players, like a -10 to activity. And that will last. Make sure the round, though, is at 0, unless that penalty disappears in 3 rounds, in which case just put a duration right there. And you know about stun. So those are the effects. I think one of the last things really is to probably tell you about this hotkey, which is in several videos. For Rolemaster, though, you probably want your players to drag their initiative onto it. So just drag from the initiative box, drag it in, drop it onto one of these grey boxes. And at the moment, that corresponds to F1, F2. So I push F1 on my keyboard. That'll do the summons table. Bring it up and then roll it. If I do the F2, that rolls the initiative. Or you can just drag it out, is what I do, and let go. Good one really is to get the players to drag their next actor button into here. If you want them to do them, an easy way of doing next actor. Other things is like a commonly used maps. So let's close that map for a second. You could drag the forest forward into there. Or really player maps might be a good one. They can just click on it at any point and open up the map. Now remember, if you use the control key, you can then do Control F1. You can use the Shift key, Shift F1 or whatever. You can even use the Alt key. So you've got quite a lot of these hotkeys that if you want to use. For Rolemaster, I'd recommend you get your players to put the perception in one of these because they're going to roll perception quite a lot. Right, okay, I made a few little mistakes in that, so there'll be a few jump cuts in there, and some of it didn't work properly, so I had to change it until it did work. Hopefully you haven't spotted that. But hey, that's how it goes. Right, so to come, I'm going to try and do a video on modifications that are available for Fantasy Grounds, like player agency, the languages add-in. I just need to look into a bit more detail. That's not going to be next week. That'll be in a little bit of time, once I've had a good research on those. Also was suggested was that I speak to a few games masters who use Fantasy Grounds and get their take on it. So yeah, fine, I could look into that and decide what format that is. Longer term, there'll be some more videos about when Fantasy Grounds Unity comes out, see what's different for that. I don't think an awful lot is. I don't think they will need more than one video. And also when Rolemaster Unified comes out, we'll do an updated version of all of this once it's on Fantasy Grounds, which I know Dakadin is working on as we speak. Thank you very much for sticking with this series. I hope it has helped you. Happy gaming. Cheers.